Welcome back to the channel BBC Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins hiding in plain sight. It looks simple, ordinary, and small, but it could be worth a surprising amount of money. We're talking about the 1981 Liberty 1-cent United States coin with no mint mark. Yes, the humble penny. Many people ignore pennies, toss them into jars, or leave them behind in drawers and pockets. But what if one of those tiny coins could actually be worth over $1,200? In this video, we're going to uncover the history, the secrets, the rare features, and the current market value of the 1981 Liberty 1-cent coin with no mint mark. By the end of this video, you might want to check every penny you own. Let's start with the basics. The 1981 1-cent coin belongs to the famous Lincoln Memorial Penny series. On the front of the coin, you will see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This iconic design was created by Victor David Brenner and first appeared in 1909. Above Lincoln's head you will see the words "I in God we trust." On the left side you will see the word Liberty, and on the right side the date 1981. But there's something important to notice. Many collectors look closely under the date to find a mint mark. Usually you might see a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco. However, if the coin was minted in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark at all. So when collectors talk about the 1981 penny with no mint mark, they are referring to coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Now let's flip the coin over. On the reverse side you will see the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. Above the memorial are the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. At the bottom you will see the denomination 1 cent. This design was created by Frank Gasparo and remained on the penny from 1959 until 2008. At first glance, this coin might seem very common. In fact, billions were produced in 1981. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck more than 7.4 billion pennies that year. So how could a coin produced in such massive numbers possibly be worth more than $1,000? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and minting errors. First, let's talk about the composition of the coin. The 1981 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. It weighs about 3.11 grams. This is important because 1981 was one of the final years before the U.S. Mint changed the penny's composition. In 1982, the government switched to a zinc core with a thin copper coating due to rising copper prices. That means the 1981 penny represents the end of the traditional copper era, making it historically significant to collectors. But history alone doesn't make it extremely valuable. What really drives the price up is the condition of the coin. Coin collectors use a grading system that ranges from poor condition to mint state. A coin that has circulated through pockets, wallets, and cash registers will usually show scratches, fading, and wear. These coins typically sell for just a few cents. However, when a coin is preserved in perfect or near perfect condition, its value can increase dramatically. Collectors call these coins mint state coins. High-grade examples of the 1981 penny are surprisingly hard to find because most of them were used in everyday transactions for decades. When a coin survives with its original red copper shine, sharp details, and almost no wear, collectors are willing to pay much more to own it. But even mint-condition coins usually sell for tens or hundreds of dollars. So how do we reach a value of $1,200 or more? This is where rare minting errors come into play. During the coin minting process, machines strike thousands of coins every hour. Occasionally something goes wrong. When this happens, the result can be a unique error coin. These mistakes can transform an ordinary penny into a collector's treasure. One of the most famous error types is the off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the blank metal piece is not properly aligned with the minting dies. Instead of the design appearing perfectly centered, part of the coin appears shifted or missing. Collectors love dramatic off-center errors because they are visually striking and rare. Some off-center 1981 pennies have sold for hundreds of dollars, and stronger examples can reach around $1,000 or more depending on the severity and visibility of the date. Another valuable variety is the double die error. Today we are going to talk about a fascinating coin that many people may have seen in their pocket change but never realized its potential value. That coin is the 1987 Liberty 1-cent United States coin with no mint mark. Some collectors believe certain examples of this coin can reach values starting around $1,200 depending on rarity, condition, and special minting characteristics. Before we dive into the details, make sure you stay until the end of the video because I will explain exactly what to look for on this coin that could turn an ordinary penny into a highly collectible piece of American history. Let's begin. First, let's talk about the background of the 1987 1-cent coin. The United States penny featuring Abraham Lincoln is one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Since then, billions of these coins have been produced, making them one of the most widely circulated coins in the world. The 1987 Lincoln cent belongs to the Lincoln Memorial series that was produced from 1959 until 2008. On the front of the coin you will see the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln along with the word Liberty, the year 1987, and the phrase "In God We Trust." On the reverse side you will see the Lincoln Memorial Building located in Washington, D.C. But what makes the 1987 penny particularly interesting to collectors is the version with no mint mark. Now you might be wondering what a mint mark is. A mint mark is a small letter on a coin that shows where the coin was produced. In the United States there are several major mint facilities including Denver, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. Coins produced in Denver usually have the letter D. Coins from San Francisco usually have the letter S. However, coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally had no mint mark at all. So when collectors say a coin has no mint mark, it typically means it was minted in Philadelphia. In 1987, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies. In fact, more than 4.6 billion pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone that year. Because of this massive production, most 1987 pennies are extremely common. Many circulated examples are worth only their face value of 1 cent. Even in better condition they might only sell for a few cents or a few dollars. So how can a coin like this be worth $1,200 or more? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and minting errors. Coin collectors are always searching for coins that are unusual or extremely well preserved. When a coin survives in nearly perfect condition or contains a rare production mistake, its value can increase dramatically. One of the biggest factors that affects the value of the 1987 no mint mark penny is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor condition all the way to mint state, which means the coin looks almost exactly as it did when it left the mint. A heavily circulated 1987 penny might show scratches, discoloration, and worn details. These coins usually hold very little collector value. However, a coin that remains in pristine mint condition with bright original red color can be extremely desirable to collectors. According to coin value guides, exceptional high-grade 1987 pennies have sold for thousands of dollars in rare cases when they achieve the highest grading levels. Another factor that can make this coin valuable is mint errors. Mint errors occur during the manufacturing process when something goes wrong while the coin is being struck. These mistakes can create unique variations that collectors love. For example, some 1987 pennies show off center strikes where part of the design appears shifted and a blank space appears on the coin. These types of errors can significantly increase the value depending on how dramatic the error is. Another known issue with some 1987 pennies is plating errors. During the 1980s, the United States Mint switched the composition of pennies to a zinc core with a thin copper plating. Occasionally this plating process failed, creating bubbles, cracks, or peeling surfaces that collectors sometimes seek out. There are also double die varieties where parts of the design appear duplicated due to a misalignment in the die during the minting process. When collectors discover unusual errors like these combined with a coin in excellent condition, the value can increase dramatically. This is why some collectors claim that rare examples of the 1987 Liberty 1-cent coin without a mint mark can start around $1,200 and potentially go even higher depending on the uniqueness of the coin. Another reason collectors love these coins is the historical context. The 1987 penny represents an interesting era in United States coin production. By the early 1980s, the rising price of copper forced the United States Mint to change the composition of pennies to a copper-plated zinc alloy. This change reduced production costs but also introduced new types of minting imperfections and surface issues that collectors now study closely. So when you find a 1987 penny with unusual characteristics, it might actually tell a story about the minting technology of that time. Now let's talk about how you can check if your coin might be valuable. First, look carefully under the year 1987 on the front of the coin. If you do not see any letters such as D or S, then you have the no mint mark version produced in Philadelphia. Second, inspect the coin's condition. Coins that appear shiny, bright red, and free from scratches are far more valuable than heavily circulated ones. Third, examine the coin closely for minting errors. Look for doubling on the letters, off-center designs, unusual textures, or strange marks that look different from ordinary pennies. Using a magnifying glass or coin microscope can help you notice small details that might otherwise go unnoticed. If you believe your coin might be rare or valuable, you can also have it professionally graded by companies such as PCGS or NGC. Today we are exploring one of the most fascinating modern American coins, the 1993 P. Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark. At first glance it may look like an ordinary penny, but for collectors and treasure hunters this small coin can represent history, rarity, and serious value. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins in United States history. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, this coin became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. The design has remained a symbol of American heritage for over a century. By 1993, the Lincoln Memorial design was already familiar to millions of Americans. On the front of the coin we see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse side stands the famous Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., representing the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents. The coin we are talking about today is the 1993 Lincoln cent produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, coins produced in Philadelphia carry a small letter P to indicate the mint location. However, for many years Lincoln pennies produced there did not display the P mint mark. Because of this tradition, a 1993 penny without a mint mark actually means it was minted in Philadelphia. Over 5.6 billion of these coins were produced in that year, making it seem like a very common coin. But as every collector knows, sometimes rarity is not about how many coins were made, but about how many survived in perfect condition. Most circulated 1993 pennies are only worth their face value of 1 cent. Many people would simply spend them without thinking twice. However, when a coin survives in extraordinary condition, something amazing can happen. High-grade examples of the 1993 Lincoln cent can become extremely valuable. Coin grading organizations evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. The closer a coin is to perfect condition, the higher its grade becomes. Coins graded near the very top of this scale are incredibly rare because most coins enter circulation and quickly develop scratches, wear, and discoloration. When collectors discovered that certain 1993 Lincoln cents were preserved in nearly flawless condition, the market value started rising dramatically. Some of the finest known examples have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. One record sale involved a pristine coin graded MS-69 red that sold for over $3,000, proving that even a modern penny can become a valuable collector's item. Now let's talk about the version that collectors often search for, the 1993 P. Lincoln cent with no mint mark in exceptional condition. Coins with strong original red color, sharp details, and no circulation damage attract serious attention in the coin market. In the collector community, these are known as red mint state coins, meaning they retain their original copper shine just like the day they were minted. Today we are going to explore one of the most fascinating modern U.S. coins collectors search for every day, the 1996 Liberty 1-cent coin from the United States with no mint mark. Many collectors and treasure hunters believe that certain versions of this coin can reach market values starting around $1,200 or even higher depending on rarity, condition, and minting errors.so. Stay with me until the end of this video because I will explain exactly why this small penny has become so popular among collectors and how you might identify a valuable one in your own collection. Let's begin with the history behind this coin. The 1996 Liberty 1-cent coin belongs to the famous Lincoln Memorial Cent series, one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and the memorial design on the reverse side was created by designer Frank Gasparo. By 1996, billions of these pennies were produced for circulation across the United States. In fact, more than 6.6 billion pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone, which is why coins from this mint do not show a mint mark under the date. That means if you see a 1996 penny with no letter below the date, it was produced in Philadelphia. But here is where things get interesting. Even though millions of these coins were made, collectors are always searching for special versions that stand out. Some of these pennies contain rare minting errors, unique die varieties, or exceptionally preserved surfaces that make them extremely valuable. A normal circulated 1996 penny might only be worth 1 cent. Just like any other coin you receive as change. But when a coin survives an extraordinary condition or contains a rare mint error, its value can increase dramatically. In fact, high-grade examples of the 1996 no-mint mark penny have sold for thousands of dollars at auction because perfect coins are extremely difficult to find. This is why collectors examine every detail of these coins carefully. Now let's take a closer look at the design of the 1996 Liberty 1-cent coin. On the front side, also called the obverse, you will see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head is the word Liberty, while the year 1996 appears on the right side. The phrase "I in God We Trust" arches along the top edge of the coin. On coins from Philadelphia, there is no mint mark beneath the date. On the reverse side, you will find the famous Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. Inside the memorial, you can actually see a tiny image of the Lincoln statue if you look closely with magnification. The reverse also contains the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, with the denomination 1 cent at the bottom. Even though the design seems simple, small differences during the minting process can create extremely rare coins. Now let's talk about why some collectors believe the 1996 no-mint mark penny can reach values starting around $1,200 or even higher. One major reason is minting errors. Mint errors happen when something unusual occurs during the production process at the U.S. Mint. This might include doubled letters, off-center strikes, die cracks, or unusual spacing between letters. For example, certain 1996 pennies feature double die errors, where the design appears slightly doubled due to a misalignment of the die during production. These errors are highly collectible and can significantly increase the coin's value. Another example is the close AM variety on the reverse side. Normally the letters A and M in the word America are spaced slightly apart, but on rare varieties they appear extremely close together. Coins with this unusual spacing have been known to sell for thousands of dollars depending on their condition. Collectors also search for coins with off-center strikes, where the design appears shifted to one side of the coin. These errors occur when the blank metal disc is not positioned correctly during minting. When the date remains visible on an off-center coin, collectors often pay a premium for it. Another important factor affecting value is coin condition, also known as the grade. Coins that have never circulated and still maintain their original red copper color are extremely desirable among collectors. These coins are often graded by professional grading services and given ratings such as MS65, MS67, or even MS68. The higher the grade, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. For example, a nearly perfect 1996 penny graded at the highest levels has sold for over $2,000 in the collector market because pristine coins from that year are extremely rare. That is why collectors always recommend examining your coins carefully before spending them. Sometimes the smallest details can reveal a hidden treasure. Imagine searching through a jar of pennies at home and suddenly noticing a bright 1996 coin with no mint mark. At first it may seem ordinary, but after examining it under magnification you discover unusual lettering or an error in the design. That moment is what coin collectors call a treasure find. This is also why coin collecting has become one of the most exciting hobbies in the world. Every coin has a story, and sometimes that story leads to unexpected value. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating modern coins that many people overlook in their pocket change. It is the 1997 Liberty 1-cent United States coin with no mint mark. At first glance it may look like an ordinary penny, but hidden behind this small copper coin is a story of history, rarity, and surprising value that has captured the attention of collectors all over the world. Many people see a penny and think it is worth only 1 cent. But in the world of coin collecting, the smallest coins can sometimes carry the biggest surprises. The 1997 Liberty 1-cent coin is a perfect example. Some rare versions of this coin have been valued by collectors at prices starting around $1,200 and sometimes even higher depending on the condition and special features of the coin. Before we talk about the value, let us first understand what this coin actually is. The 1997 1-cent coin belongs to the famous Lincoln cent series. This design first appeared in 1909, and it was created to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The portrait of Lincoln was designed by Victor David Brenner, and it has remained one of the most iconic images in American coin history. When you look at the front of the coin, you will see the detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head are the words "In God We Trust." On the left side you will see the word Liberty, and below Lincoln's shoulder you will find the date 1997. These design elements have been part of the Lincoln penny tradition for decades. Now let us talk about the interesting part. Many collectors become excited when they find a coin without a mint mark. On the 1997 penny, the area below the date may appear blank. That means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. For most years, Philadelphia pennies did not carry a mint mark, so the absence of a mint mark simply indicates where the coin was produced. In 1997, the Philadelphia Mint produced more than 4.6 billion pennies. That means these coins were widely circulated and used by millions of people across the United States. Because of such high production numbers, most 1997 pennies are common and worth only face value when they are worn from circulation. But here is where the story becomes exciting. While most coins are common, a small number exist in extremely high quality, or with rare minting varieties. These special coins can attract serious collectors and command surprisingly high prices in the market. Collectors use a grading system called the Mint State Scale to evaluate coin condition. This scale ranges from MS60 up to MS70. The higher the number, the closer the coin is to perfect condition. Coins that remain bright red with original mint luster are especially desirable. These are called red designation coins, and they often bring much higher prices than coins that have turned brown over time. A typical 1997 penny in ordinary circulation might be worth only a few cents. However, an uncirculated coin with a high grade such as MS67 or MS68 can be worth hundreds of dollars. In rare cases, nearly perfect coins graded MS69 have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Another reason some 1997 pennies attract attention is because of error varieties. One of the most famous is known as the doubled ear variety. On this coin, Abraham Lincoln's ear appears slightly doubled because of a mistake during the die creation process. This error is subtle but very exciting for collectors who enjoy searching for rare varieties in everyday coins. If you happen to find a 1997 penny with strong red color, perfect surfaces, and a rare variety, the coin could enter the collector market at impressive values. In some markets and private sales, collectors may pay starting prices around $1,200 for exceptional examples, especially when the coin has been professionally graded and certified. Now let us take a closer look at the reverse side of the coin. When you flip the 1997 penny over, you will see the Lincoln Memorial Building. This design was used on pennies from 1959 until 2008. At the top you will see the words United States of America. Just below that is the national motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. At the bottom of the coin you will see the denomination 1 cent. What makes the Lincoln Memorial design even more interesting is a tiny hidden detail. If you look very closely inside the memorial building, you can actually see a small image of the Lincoln statue. This tiny detail makes the coin even more impressive when you consider its small size. The 1997 Lincoln cent is also made from a copper-plated zinc composition. Since 1982, most U.S. pennies have been produced using this material combination. The outer layer is copper, while the inner core is zinc. This allowed the U.S. Mint to reduce production costs while still maintaining the traditional copper appearance. For collectors, condition is everything. A coin that has never been used in circulation will still show bright surfaces, sharp details, and strong luster. These coins are known as uncirculated coins, and they are far more desirable than worn examples. Professional grading companies such as PCGS and NGC examine coins carefully and assign official grades. When a rare coin receives a high grade, its value in the collector market can increase dramatically because buyers trust the professional certification. Another reason people love hunting for coins like the 1997 penny is the thrill of discovery. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket change that could potentially be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. This possibility has inspired millions of collectors to check their coins carefully. Today we are going to talk about one of the most fascinating modern coins in circulation, the 2021 Liberty 1 cent coin with no mint mark from the United States. A coin that looks ordinary but could hide an extraordinary value. The Lincoln cent has been part of American history for more than a century. It first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Since then, billions of pennies have been produced, passing through the hands of millions of people around the world. But every once in a while, a certain coin stands out. Sometimes because of its rarity. Sometimes because of a minting error. And sometimes because collectors suddenly realize it is much harder to find in perfect condition. The 2021 Liberty 1 cent coin is part of the modern Lincoln Shield cent series. On the front of the coin, you will see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Above his head is the phrase "In God We Trust." To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the word liberty. And to the right of the portrait is the year 2021. This design has become one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. But the real story begins when you look for the mint mark. On many United States coins, you will see a small letter below the date. AD stands for Denver, and S stands for San Francisco. But sometimes you will see no letter at all. When a Lincoln penny has no mint mark, it means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia has a long tradition of producing pennies without a mint mark. A tradition that goes back many decades. At first glance, that might sound completely normal. After all, billions of pennies are minted every year. In fact, nearly 4 billion 2021 pennies were produced without a mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint alone. So how could a coin produced in such huge numbers ever be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? The answer lies in condition, rarity within high grades, and mint errors. Most 2021 pennies you find in circulation are worth exactly what they say on the coin. Just 1 cent. But collectors are always searching for coins in perfect mint state condition. These are coins that look almost exactly like they did the moment they left the mint. They have sharp details, bright red copper color, and no signs of wear. When a modern coin survives in extremely high grades like MS67 or MS68, the number of available examples becomes surprisingly small. Collectors compete to own the best examples, and that competition can drive prices much higher than people expect. In fact, some exceptionally graded 2021 Lincoln pennies have sold for over $1,000 at auction. One example graded MS68 red reached a sale price close to $1,300. That means a coin originally worth 1 cent could become worth over $1,000 simply because it survived in near perfect condition. But condition is only one part of the story. Another reason the 2021 Liberty penny can become valuable is because of minting errors. Mint errors happen when something unusual occurs during the coin production process. The coin press might strike the metal blank incorrectly. The die might have a crack. The design might double slightly due to misalignment. These small mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into something collectors are eager to buy. For example, some 2021 pennies showed die cracks running across parts of the design. Others may have doubled letters and words like Liberty, or United States of America. There are also off-center strikes where part of the design appears missing because the coin was not properly aligned during the minting process. These errors are rare compared to the total number of coins produced, which is why collectors pay attention to them. A dramatic error coin can sell for tens, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars depending on how unusual the mistake is. Now imagine this situation. Someone receives a handful of change at a store. Among the coins is a shiny 2021 penny with no mint mark. At first glance it looks like any other penny. But when examined under magnification, the coin appears to have a doubled letter in the word Liberty. Or perhaps the strike is slightly off-center. That discovery could transform an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. This is why coin hunters around the world search through rolls of pennies every day. They carefully examine each coin, hoping to discover something special hiding in plain sight. And the most exciting part is that these coins are still circulating today. Unlike ancient coins locked away in museums, modern coins like the 2021 Lincoln cent are still found in everyday pocket change. That means anyone could potentially discover one. All it takes is patience, curiosity, and a close look at the details. If you want to check your own coins, here are a few things to look for. First, examine the mint mark area below the date. If there is no mint mark, your coin was minted in Philadelphia. Second, check the overall condition of the coin. Coins that still have a bright red copper color are more desirable than darker brown coins. Third, inspect the letters and numbers carefully. Look for doubling, cracks, unusual bumps, or missing design elements. Fourth, look at the alignment of the strike. If the design appears shifted toward one side of the coin, it could be an off-center error. Finally, if you believe you have found something unusual, consider having the coin evaluated by a professional grading service. Companies such as PCGS or NGC specialize in authenticating and grading coins for collectors. Professional grading can dramatically increase a coin's credibility and market value. The story of the 2021 Liberty 1 cent coin reminds us that even the smallest piece of currency can hold a surprising story. A coin worth only 1 cent can become a treasure simply because it survived in perfect condition or because of a tiny minting mistake that happened for only a moment during production.